Peacock angel, being an account of votaries of a secret cult and their sanctuaries, E.S. Drower. Chapter 2, a Yezidi wedding. In Sparta once, to the house of fair-haired Menelaus came maidens with the blooming hyacinth in their hair. Theocritus, Ideal 18. I shall not easily forget what I saw when I stumbled upon a Yezidi wedding one October in the village of Ba-Idre, where we were staying the night with Wanta's husband, the Mir, at his Qasr, or castle, on the hill, girt about with sacred trees. On the slopes, men and women were dancing to the pipe and drum, all in the gayest of colors. The huge silver buckles and silver headdresses of the women flashing in the sun as they swayed and stepped to the music. It was the round mountain dance. The Debka, which I was presently to see in its original religious form at the Yezidi spring feast. Within an upper room of her father-in-law's house sat the 12-year-old bride in semi-darkness, for a veil had been drawn across the half of the room where she sat on her bridal bed, silent as custom insists. The sun must not shine upon her for a week, they said. It was Mirawansa herself who told me most of what I set down here, prompted by questions which I will leave out. Well, if you sit people in darkness, the contact they have with others during that prolonged darkness will form an attachment to them. It is the parents, she said, who arrange a marriage, but they often know already the wish of the son or daughter concerned. The parents of the young man approach those of his prospective bride. Her father asks the girl if she accepts, and her silence gives consent. Should the match be abhorrent to her, she is permitted to speak out and to refuse. The families being agreed, the bridegroom's father, accompanied by a sheikh and a peer, goes to the girl's father to discuss the dowry. Nekt in Kurdish. When this is settled, a sum of 40 dinars is the average sum for a family of moderate means. The sheikh writes the agreement on paper, affixes his seal to the document, and then reads prayers invoking the blessing of the Peacock angel and other angels upon the union. And we use the English word angel to refer to the jinn too. The clan of Sheikh Hassan is considered especially fortunate at a marriage, and a sheikh of this Sinsila clan should be present at every wedding. The sheikh presents the bride with some earth from the shrine of Sheikh Ada, and she in return gives money to him and to the peer, or it may be gifts in kind, such as a sheep and goat. The value of the gifts depends on the means of the family. The period between this ceremony and the going of the bride to her future home varies. It may be a few days or some years. 2 days before the consummation of the marriage, the bride takes a hot bath, and from this moment she must wear nothing but white. The next day, the hands of the bride and all her friends are dyed with henna. A large dish of henna is prepared and taken round to the houses of the neighbors and friends, sometimes to all the village. Women and girls help themselves to the henna and put money into the dish as a wedding gift. Why 2 days before instead of the day of? Perhaps, they're trying to let the razor burn or whatever heal if they're going to do that. If the bridegroom is of another village, the day before the wedding, all the girls and youths of that village travel to the bride's village, the girls riding 3 or 4 on a mule, while the boys and young men, mounted on horses, gallop about the procession, singing and shooting into the air. The young men sleep as guests in various houses. The girls stay that night with the bride. At about 4 o'clock in the morning, the girls and women rise, go to the bride and dress her in her bridal clothes and ornaments, while she remains entirely silent. If she can weep, and the mother can weep, it is of good augury. No matter how pleased both may feel inwardly at the marriage, weeping is not only a sign of modesty on the part of the bride, but also helps to keep away the evil eye. And it also shows that there's a variety of emotion possible. The handsomest part of a Yezidi girl's gala dress is the huge embossed gold or silver buckle which fastens her belt, often wider than the girth of her slender waist. Only one girl is allowed to clasp this heirloom, and that is the bride's other sister. I should explain what this other sister and other brother means. A lay girl and boy choose their other brother and other sister for themselves. The choice may not be made until after puberty, and is sometimes left until late in life. A person chosen must be of the shapely class, either of the shapely family to which the young man or woman is hereditarily attached, or of another. It does not matter which. The choice must be made and acknowledged at Sheikh Adi, and usually takes place at the Great September Feast, at the time of the universal pilgrimage to the shrine. The ceremony is simple. The man or woman of the shapely caste chosen fills his or her right palm with water from the sacred spring of the shrine, and the young commoner drinks it from the hand of the chosen liege or lord or lady. Henceforth, there is a close tie between the two. The other brother his duties perform at marriage, birth, and death, and must protect and help his brother in every way. The commoner, on his part, make his other brother a present yearly, and serve and help him always, not only in this world, but in the next, even in hell. Yezidis look upon this curious dual duty as prolonged into other lives. The link between the two has existed before this life, and they will come together in future lives. Our girl must have another sister, but she may also choose an older brother, if she wishes to do so, and so always with a boy. This is not usual, but may happen, and implies a yearly offering and acceptance of gifts. The relationship is entirely platonic, though usually accompanied by admiration, and is a free choice. For to marry a commoner, however beautiful, is forbidden to a member of a shapely clan. The final touch to the bride's robing is her veil, which is read, and when all is ready, the veiled girl takes leave of her weeping mother, and is set on a horse. A man of her own village, but not a sheikh or pir, holds the bridle and leads the horse as the procession forms and sets out. The young men of the bridegroom's village are careful to provide themselves with small coins before they start, for it is the duty of the small boys of the bride's village to pelt the young men in the procession with all the small stones and garbage they can find, while the young men distract these attentions by throwing money. All this is carried out, said Wanza, with much gaiety and jesting. Before the last house of the village, the bridegroom's party presents some money to the headman, Mukhtar. Now, we see here that some of the practices that people say all the Muslim countries do actually starts with the Yezidi, and they're beating the bridegroom or his company and the rest of it, right? When the procession has reached the bridegroom's village and house, the mother-in-law, standing on the roof of the entrance, showers sugar, sweets, and flowers over the bride as she arrives on her horse. The bride's other sister helps her to dismount. Then the bridegroom's mother, coming down, hands the bride a jar filled with sugar and sweetmeats. Before the new daughter-in-law can enter, she must hurl this against the threshold stone, so that it breaks, and the sweets are scattered. For these everyone scrambles as they bear good fortune. The bride steps into her future home, over the broken fragments, and also over the blood of a sheep whose throat they cut just by her feet. And we see some origins here. Well, I mean, it's hard to determine, but we see indication of the stepping on a jar and stuff like that, stepping on a glass and stuff like this by the Jewish couples in their wedding. Of course, Judaism isn't as based on scripture, so it's whatever's been. Well, I mean, they put whatever they wanted this, but you know what I mean. Before she goes into the bridal chamber, there is a mock battle between young men of the bride's party and those of the bridegroom for possession of the latter's headgear. When one of the other succeeds, the bride puts money into the bridegroom's cap and gives it to the youth who succeeded in capturing it. And, the tossing of the bouquet and the tossing of the stocking or whatever thing people. Throughout all these merrymakings, the bride remains silent as an image and is veiled in red when she has entered the bridal chamber. The sheikh and peer tie a curtain across the room. For 7 days, she and the marriage bed must remain behind this curtain or veil. And when she is forced to emerge in order to obey a call of nature, she must be careful not to pass over any water. On the day that the bride comes to the house, the bridegroom himself stays away, remaining elsewhere with his other brother. Should the day of arrival be a Tuesday, no consummation of the marriage can take place that night. Well, the new year starts at the night on a Tuesday and then the Wednesday. So the bridegroom must spend that night and the next day at another house on the other brother's company and join the bride on the Wednesday night at midnight. This is because Wednesday is the Yezidi holy day and Tuesday night, as we should call it, for them, the night of Wednesday. And the Saint Day or whatever of the Catholics and some other churches that have a secondary church service on a Wednesday, this is where that comes from. When the young husband enters the bridal chamber at midnight, his other brother and 2 of his friends wait outside the door of the room. The bridegroom is allowed an hour to consummate the marriage. After this has been announced, the young men and bridegroom eat of some light food, which the bride must be mindful to take with her into the bridal chamber, and then all go to sleep. At the end of the 7 days, the bride may leave her room. She takes a bath, and the women of the bridegroom's village prepare a large dish of dates, together with 7 kinds of grain, wheat, lentils, oats, beans, fatilla, fool, another kind of bean. Is that the flava bean? And round peas, or vera. These they boil together on the fire without butter or fat, or any other ingredient. Then carrying this porridge, they go out in gay clothing to the meadows, taking the bride with them, gay as and joyous, till they reach a stream or running water. The bride must put 7 handfuls of it into the water, cross the stream, and eat with her friends. When the oleander is out, continued Wanza, happy memories in her eyes, this is a pretty sight. We think that oleander is a powerful amulet against the evil eye, and make necklaces of it. So the women and girls who accompany the bride, sometimes 50 or more, put the pink blossoms in their turbans. During the imprisonment of the bride, her friends feast and make merry. From dawn till 10 of the morning, flute and drum sounds, and men and women dance the debka. From 10 till the early afternoon they rest and eat. The dancing begins again and goes on till midnight. And if you've ever heard it, it's sort of a creepy sort of sounding music, and I don't mean that in a bad sense. It's effectual, but it's it has its way to it. This is the time, said Wanza, that young lovers prefer, for they may find themselves dancing together and can hold hands in the circle, without society making a deal out of it. Because certainly in scripture-based Jewish, Christian, and Muslim society, the opposite genders don't touch unless they're married. And the exception is difficult to describe because, of course, you can hug your parents and that sort of thing, but you know what I mean. Certain inauspicious women are forbidden to go near a bride, a woman during her period, a woman from a house of death, widow, and a woman who has borne a child until her 40 days of uncleanness are ended, and she has taken the bath, which makes her no longer dangerous. Now, in Judaism, they have the idea that the women are unclean post-childbirth and, during her menstruation. Islam doesn't distinguishes between blood and filth. So, there's a whole different thing.